I still remember the moment with such clarity that it felt as though time stood still, suspended just long enough for my mind to misfire in every possible direction. It began with the most ordinary question, one I thought I had every right to ask. I approached with a smile, maybe even a little excitement, and casually said, "So, when's the wedding?" I expected a date, perhaps a shy smile, maybe even a request for help picking out flowers or choosing between vanilla and chocolate cake. What I did not expect, what no one could reasonably expect, was the calm, almost cheerful reply, "Oh, we got married yesterday." Everything inside me briefly shut down. It felt like my thoughts sprinted in opposite directions, collided, and fell over. I blinked, tilted my head, and may even have made a sound that was neither human nor polite, somewhere between a gasp and a hiccup. For a few seconds, I wasn't sure if I had heard correctly or if my ears had decided to take creative liberties with reality. I thought, surely she means they booked the venue yesterday, or maybe she's joking, or is this one of those prank videos? Should I look for a hidden camera? But no. Her face was perfectly sincere, perfectly happy, perfectly unbothered by the small emotional earthquake she had just triggered in my chest. My expression must have cycled through an entire slideshow of reactions. Delight, confusion, shock, pride, disbelief, like an actor at an audition unsure which character to play. I even gave that awkward laugh people use when they're buying time while their brain frantically searches for the right response. Should I congratulate her, hug her, pretend this was exactly the news I expected on this random Tuesday? Life reminded me that not all surprises come with confetti or warning labels. Sometimes they come as a daughter-in-law casually dropping life-altering information into conversation like she's mentioning the weather. And as my heart settled and the humor of the moment bloomed, I realized something beautifully simple. Love stories rarely unfold the way we imagine, yet somehow they unfold exactly the way they're meant to. The moment the words left her mouth, a tidal wave of emotions rushed through me, tumbling over each other as if competing to reach the finish line first. At the front of the pack was joy, pure and bright, bursting like a firework. My heart leapt at the thought that my son had found someone he loved enough to make such a quiet, bold commitment. Pride followed, pride in them for choosing their path with confidence, even if it wasn't the one I had envisioned. But joy didn't stand alone for long because disbelief came next, the kind that makes your brain hit the pause button to double-check the script. I looked at her, then my son, then back again, searching their faces for mischief, some hint that this was a harmless joke, but all I saw was sincerity, happiness, and calm excitement, making the news even more real. Then came that little inner voice whispering unfiltered shock. Wait, what did you just say? Not out of frustration or disappointment, but from sheer astonishment. Part of me even wanted to pull out a calendar to find the day I had somehow slept through. These emotions didn't arrive one at a time with polite introductions. They hit all at once, overlapping and colliding, joy tugging at disbelief, surprise bumping into pride, confusion dancing alongside love. It felt chaotic, but strangely beautiful, like a family reunion where everyone talks at once and the noise somehow feels comforting. Beneath every reaction, beneath the shock, the questions, the scrambling to catch up, there was a quieter emotion. Gratitude. Gratitude that they trusted me to share this moment. Gratitude that their happiness was the reason for my surprise. Gratitude that even in the whirlwind, love was the force behind it all. As the initial shock settled and my heartbeat returned to a normal rhythm, a new clarity washed over me. Love, in its truest form, doesn't always follow the script we imagine. We spend so much time picturing traditional milestones, the proposal, the engagement announcements, the showers, the dress fittings, the rehearsals, the big day with all the trimmings. We create a whole theatrical production in our heads, complete with lighting cues and soundtrack. But sometimes love prefers a smaller stage. Sometimes it whispers instead of shouts. Watching them content, united, and completely at ease with their decision, I understood something essential. The most meaningful moments don't always require an audience. Some choices become even more profound when made in simplicity, in privacy, in the quiet certainty of two hearts agreeing. Their wedding, without spectacle or ceremony, was not a sign of secrecy. It was a sign of confidence, a sign that they didn't need validation to know what they had was real. What matters most is not the size of the celebration, but the intention behind the commitment. Grand weddings can be beautiful, yes, but so can two people choosing each other in the stillness of an ordinary day. Love doesn't lose depth without fanfare. Sometimes the absence of noise lets the emotion itself speak more clearly. They didn't elope to avoid anyone. They married in the way that felt most authentic to them. No pressure, no expectations, no stress. Just love. They chose a moment that belongs entirely to the two of them. A moment that wasn't about perfect photos or a perfect venue, but about the perfect truth. I choose you. Understanding their choice was like opening a door to a new perspective. Love's greatest beauty lies in its freedom, its ability to shape itself to the people who hold it. Any lingering confusion melted away, replaced by admiration for the courage it takes to honor one's heart so quietly yet boldly. As the news sank in, a new feeling bloomed inside me, a sense of celebration that didn't rely on decorations, music, or a guest list. Even without a traditional ceremony, even without vows spoken before witnesses, there was so much to celebrate. We often tie celebration to events, parties, or rituals, but joy isn't confined to a calendar date. Their marriage, though quiet and intimate, carried every bit of the significance of a grand wedding. Its simplicity brought a refreshing purity, free from the stress that overshadows big events. They focused on what mattered, the promise they made to each other. My pride overflowed. I didn't need a reception hall to feel honored. I didn't need a room full of people to be moved. Just knowing they had chosen each other, confidently, deliberately, wholeheartedly, was enough to light up my heart like 1,000 wedding candles. The celebration that followed wasn't loud or formal. It was soft, spontaneous, and profoundly genuine. A hug that lasted a little longer than usual, a congratulations spoken with a lump in my throat, a laugh at the unexpectedness of it all, a smile that returned whenever I remembered. They're married. It was celebration in its most human form, simple, sincere, and deeply felt. The beauty of this new kind of celebration was that it opened space for creativity. We weren't bound by tradition. We could define our own way of marking the moment. Maybe a small family dinner, a toast over coffee, or a story told with laughter years from now. The absence of a formal ceremony didn't diminish anything. If anything, it made the joy more personal. A celebration doesn't need spectacle. It needs meaning. Their marriage was overflowing with it, enough to fill a room even without the room itself. As the surprise softened into understanding and joy, another feeling rose. Warmth, openness, genuine affection. Whether I had been present for their vows or not, one truth remained. I now had a daughter-in-law, a new thread in the tapestry of our lives. Welcoming her felt as natural as breathing. From the moment she came into my son's life, there was something unmistakably bright about her presence. An ease, a kindness, a spark that gathered everyone around her. I didn't need to witness the vows to know their sincerity. I had seen it in the way they looked at each other, long before married entered the conversation. Their connection didn't begin with a ring, and it didn't need a crowd for validation. So when she told me, "We got married yesterday," my heart responded with joy for a future we would share. I didn't feel excluded. I felt included in a new chapter of their lives, one they trusted me enough to share in their own time and way. That trust was as meaningful as any invitation. Family is created through love, respect, and the quiet decision to embrace one another. Embracing her was effortless. I wanted to tell her how happy I was, how proud I was of them for choosing life together, and how grateful I felt to have her in ours. Witnessing the vows wasn't what made her my daughter-in-law. What made her family was the way she cared for my son, the grace with which she stepped into our lives, and the kindness she carried. Ceremony or not, she belonged. And as I wrapped my arms around her, I knew with absolute certainty, love creates the bond, but we choose to nurture it. I am honored to welcome her into our family yesterday, today, and always. There's something undeniably enchanting about spontaneity, especially in love. In a world ruled by schedules and meticulously planned events, the idea of two people committing quietly, without fanfare, carries rare and undeniable charm. Their choice wasn't reckless, it was courageous, bold, and profoundly beautiful. Choosing love in its simplest form requires bravery. It's easy to follow tradition, wait for the right date, and plan the perfect ceremony, but true spontaneity is a declaration that love itself is enough. They didn't need external validation. Their courage lay in trusting that their bond and promise were meaningful, even without an audience. The charm of spontaneity lies in its purity. There's a quiet elegance in doing something for love alone, free from the pressures of appearances or expectations. Their decision was intimate, personal, and entirely their own. Love doesn't need to be complicated to be genuine. Sometimes the most profound expressions of commitment come not from grand gestures, but from acting on your heart without hesitation. There's also infectious joy in spontaneity. Seeing them happy and secure brought a lightness a traditional ceremony might never achieve. Their wedding may have been private, but its happiness radiated outward, touching everyone around them. It was a celebration of the moment, of the feeling, and of the courage to embrace life as it comes. Their spontaneous decision reminded me that love thrives in authenticity, honesty, and conviction. Life doesn't always need a plan to be meaningful. Sometimes the simplest, purest acts leave the most lasting impression. Some stories arrive quietly, only to erupt into laughter and memories that last a lifetime. Learning that my son and daughter-in-law had gotten married yesterday was one of those stories. A moment so unexpected, so delightfully surprising, it became legendary in our family. I remember the exact mix of shock, confusion, and amusement that swept over me. At first I blinked, trying to process the words, wondering if I had misheard. Then came the internal chorus. Wait, they what? As reality sank in, laughter inevitably followed. It was impossible not to smile at the audacity of it, at the boldness and simplicity of their decision. The fact that they had quietly tied the knot without traditional fanfare was both shocking and hilarious. It was a story that demanded retelling, embellishment, and celebration. I could already imagine recounting it at future gatherings with the same incredulous expression and animated gestures, making everyone laugh until their cheeks hurt. But beyond the humor, the story carries warmth. It's about love that doesn't need approval, about two people who follow their hearts without waiting for the world to catch up. It's about trust, family bonds, and how unexpected moments often become the most meaningful. Every retelling will carry that mix of surprise and joy, reminding us not just of what happened, but of the love that made it possible. The story has already shaped our family narrative, woven into everyday conversation, birthdays, anniversaries, and reunions. It brings laughter, smiles, and a warm reminder of the spontaneity and joy that life and love can bring. Discovering their wedding after the fact wasn't just a funny anecdote. It was a story that celebrates their love, courage, and uniqueness. It is a family legend in the making, one that will bring laughter, surprise, and joy for generations. One of the most powerful lessons I learned from hearing "we got married yesterday" is that love is bigger than any plan we might make. Life often convinces us that there is a perfect timeline, a schedule for happiness, a plan for milestones, a carefully designed roadmap for defining moments. We anticipate weddings, birthdays, graduations, and celebrations with checklists, thinking that meaning comes only when orchestrated. And yet, life repeatedly teaches us that the most cherished moments arrive unannounced. Their marriage was a perfect example. There were no invitations, no elaborate decorations, no rehearsed speeches. only the quiet, authentic decision of two people who love each other, committing without waiting for permission or perfect timing. Life's most meaningful moments often arrive suddenly, quietly, without warning, leaving us scrambling to catch up, but leaving memories that shine brighter because of their unexpectedness. Love doesn't need a grand stage or a perfectly timed announcement. The heart doesn't follow a calendar, and happiness doesn't wait. Sometimes love blooms in the ordinary, the unseen, and the unscripted. Their decision reminded me that the best moments aren't always scheduled, they're lived. Spontaneity doesn't take away from the depth of experience. It enhances it, infusing it with surprise, authenticity, and delight. Plans provide structure, but love is bigger, more expansive, and more enduring than any timeline. We don't need a perfect moment to celebrate, commit, or cherish someone. Often the moments we least expect become the ones we treasure forever. As I reflect on the surprise, laughter, and joy of discovering that my son and daughter-in-law had quietly tied the knot, my heart is filled with a deep sense of blessing. I feel overwhelming gratitude for the love they share, a love that is authentic, courageous, and inspiring. It reminds us that happiness cannot be scheduled or confined to expectation. It simply happens, often in beautiful and unexpected ways. My blessing for them is simple but heartfelt. May their days be filled with understanding, patience, and unwavering support. May they find joy in small moments, the quiet breakfast together, laughter over a small joke, the comfort of presence. May their journey be guided by the same courage they showed in choosing each other, without hesitation, without apology, with total trust in their bond. I wish for a lifetime of joyful surprises that deepen their connection. And when life brings challenges, may their love remain a steadfast anchor, reminding them that the most important thing is not circumstances, but the commitment and care they hold for one another. I am honored to witness their love, even if it arrived unexpectedly. I am grateful to welcome my daughter-in-law not because of a ceremony, but because of who she is and the joy she brings. My wish is that our family continues to grow together in love and laughter, celebrating both planned and spontaneous moments. No surprise in life is greater or more welcome than the happiness of the people you love. Their union is a vivid reminder of that truth. To my son and daughter-in-law, I offer this blessing. May your marriage be rich with joy, resilient through trials, abundant in love, and ever filled with the kind of happiness that makes every day worth celebrating. Your love is a gift to each other, and a gift to all of us who share in your story. Isn't it amazing how love shows up when we least expect it? If this story made you smile, hit like and subscribe so you don't miss more heartwarming moments. I'd love to hear from you. Comment below and tell me about a surprise moment in your life that brought joy. Let's celebrate the little unexpected moments together. Remember, love doesn't need a stage. It just needs to be felt.